Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, or whatever else you want to call yourself. I went out into the wilderness. I hunted. I searched. I tripped over a nomad. He followed me back. Nothing I can do. All yours, mate.
good, good morning, everybody. So, Jenson, we've had a lot of news. Sherardi brought it up. All right.
Oh, yes.
Earlier today, all right, we were having a discussion earlier today before I had to leave. By the way, for if you do show up, Mole, all right, you're more than welcome to join us. Um, we Mole, poor old Mole, the unholy Mole is a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
We don't agree with everything he says. I don't disagree with everything he says. But Mole is a really good guy. Uh, he disappeared for a while. I was hoping everything was fine, only to find out that what had happened is he had gotten a new phone and had forgotten his Google password. So was AOA. He was AFK for a couple months because he couldn't figure out what his password was. Which
Oh, sorry. I sneezed. My mistake.
I could fully appreciate that happening because, quite frankly, I'm the same way.
hmm Saying, okay, just for you boomers, we've got this thing nowadays, they're called pen and paper. You can write down things like passwords. Just saying, yeah, okay?
I don't write down passwords. I
Yeah.
do not write
And
down
this is why
passwords.
and this is why you forget them.
This is also why I've never been accused of, leaking state secrets as well.
Okay, so maybe we don't call you Bradley Manning. I gotcha. All right, no problem.
Better never call
Oh,
me
did I
Bradley.
say it out loud? Oh no! I wonder if I'll get in trouble for that.
Okay. All right. Um, but we had a number of different conversations, and
Hmm?
I kind of want to talk about this. I kind of want to talk about Tim Pool. All right, not because I care
Yes.
to talk about Tim Pool, but because of the situation that occurred. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, Tim Pool was interviewing Brandon Tatum, and
hmm
for those who don't know who Brandon Tatum is, he has a channel. Brandon Tatum is a former police officer in this city of Tucson.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
I don't believe he lives in Tucson anymore, but he was a former police officer in the city that I live in, and he is somebody that he he got it.
You can do
He woke up one
it.
day and reality smacked him in the face. and so like many other people, Brandon Tatum has now become a red pilled individual who people absolutely hate. Okay, and while the live stream was going out for Tim Pool, he was swatted. Okay, now we know what swatting is, or most people know what swatting is. You can look it up if you want. Okay, the reason Tim Pool got swatted is up for debate. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's up for debate. I think it's the reasoning is the same. This was done to hurt Tim Pool. This was done to try and hurt Brandon Tatum. This was an attempt to get people murdered, to get people shot, and to get people killed that disagree with with these idiots on a on a political level. All right. Now, while we were discussing this, okay, this is a felony to do this. But what's been happening, of
Yes.
course, is the vast majority of these people get like time served, a year, dumb shit like that, right? Put me in charge. Give it to me. Put me in charge of this, okay? Because I'm gonna bring back caning. I'm gonna bring back public caning, and after the public caning, right? Then you go into jail for attempted murder because that's
Yeah.
what this was. Now, there's a lot of things going on, right? With this, initially, Tim Pool just thought a couple of cops showed up, but apparently it was far more than that. Okay. Apparently it was like 8 cars and several people. It's just that the only people Tim Pool saw were the 2 cops that were, I guess, that were in the house or in the studio, whatever he calls his place of business / studio / house, whatever. Okay. And Tim Pool's comment was what set me off with part of this, but also the comments that I'm hearing from other people that I've discussed this with, not you and not Mole, really, but other coworkers that I have. Look, you can bitch about the police, but what do you expect the police to do? You know, these are the... If the police said, okay, we heard that there's a report here, right, and then sent out a guy to look around the neighborhood, and the neighborhood's all quiet, and he comes back and says, I didn't see anything, and next thing you know, there's, 16 people found under a floor somewhere. Who are they going to blame? Well, the police. So if the police go barging in and knock down a house and then shoot 5 people, all right, because the people were like, didn't know what it was, and they all of a sudden they were like the guy in Kansas who came out aggressively. What the hell is that? And got shot, right?
Happy if you do, damned if you don't, is what you're saying.
What do you expect the police to be acting like? And there is no... The idea that there's a solution, that there's a systematic solution to this is stupid, right? What's the problem here? Is you have people, okay, who abuse the system. It's not the cops abusing the system in this case, right? Is you have a human being that went out of their way to abuse the system to try and hurt Tim Pool. Now, there's a lot of people saying that the reason they're trying to hurt Tim Pool is because he gave an interview with Major Taylor Greene, Green, whatever her name is, however she pronounces it. I'm not trying to butcher your name. I just not sure how she pronounces it because I've never heard her pronounce her name. Right?
To let you know, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, or if you really want to have a chuckle, call her Madge the Fladge.
Marjorie. I'll just call her Marjorie. I mean, that's fine if that's how she calls herself.
Okay.
Right? I don't care. I'm not a follower of hers. Okay? I don't disagree with a lot of her stances. There are stances of hers that I do disagree with, but that's regardless. Okay? If you expect me to be a carbon copy or a cookie cutter copy of people, you're an idiot. Okay? That's just the way it is. But for the person who did this, they were trying to hurt... I think that they were trying to hurt more than just Tim Pool. I think they were trying to hurt everybody in that building. I think they were trying to get it so that the police came in there, hurt a few people, and then you hoping to see everybody taken out in handcuffs, all right, perp walk down the street. That's what I think they were hoping to happen. Right? And if as long... I think in their wildest dreams, they're probably hoping that the police would open fire and shoot half of them. That's who these people are. But my problem with Tim Pool is he's upset because the police came in and he thinks that they should have gotten a warrant. Why? They believe that there's an incident going on here. They believe that there's they don't know when they go to a residence, they don't know whose residence it is. Okay? They don't know. In fact, I would venture to say that half these people don't even know who Tim Pool is. Right? You and I know who Tim Pool is because he's a celebrity on YouTube. All right? And and let's be honest, let's be frank, he's a big celebrity on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay? He gets millions of views. All right? This guy is a big player in the YouTube community. And YouTube, I want you to hear this, YouTube. YouTube, this is who, okay, you guys are going after. This is who your, what do you call them? Algorithms and everything are trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
This is who you've sitting up there. This is the same people. The people who swatted him, all right, are the same people who are writing these algorithms to try and do away with anything that's conservative that they dislike. That's what you've done. Is you've increased the intolerance in the entire YouTube community. Congratulations. All right? Because you tolerate the ones who are abusing the system the most. And then coming back going, oh no, we want everyone to be like this. Bullshit.
Yeah.
If that's too hard for you guys, if that's too hard for people to understand, that's on you. But that's reality. And you and tell me I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong with this view.
No, I agree.
I don't dislike this. People who disagree with me just because they disagree with me. I don't dislike that. But when you can't understand why we are in the situation that we're in, right? Here's what Tim Pool's initial statement was. Someone called the police, said that they shot and killed 2 people and were going to kill more. All right, the police were told not to enter without a warrant, but said that they didn't need to get one due to exigent circumstances. No shit. They were told that there's a life-threatening situation, Tim. All right, you don't need a warrant for that. Okay?
Yep.
This is a large house used as a production studio with many employees on site. I understand that this was your initial take, Tim. All right, but you've got to understand how societies have to work. Okay, you have to understand that.
Couple of things, MC. One, Shirati got me to send something to you in DMs, and 2 from CSG. Hey, first of all, hey CSG, and how do we know it's the leftists that did it? Far right hate Tim Pool just as much. That's actually a reasonable comment. Actually, it could. We don't know for definite. We can theorize only.
The right, the far right, as you described them. How do you know? Let me ask you a question there, CSG. How do you know the far right hates Tim Pool as much as the left?
All I know is Tim has claimed this.
Tim has claimed that there are that he gets that people call him all sorts of names, right? But there's 2 things about this that are quite obvious, and yes, I am making an assessment. CSG is not totally wrong about this. Could this be some right wing radical nut job? Somebody on the right. Well, in my opinion, frankly, is the answer is no. This is not a libertarian seeking individual that swatted him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not a liberty person who swatted him. And this goes back to the difference between what you call right and what I call being on the right. There's a difference between conservatism, all right, and what conservatism is in America and what conservatism is when you talk about conservatism in the European communities and in Britain. Conservatives in America, okay, are not what a lot of people think that they are. The conservatives in America were the ones that founded America on liberty. They were the ones that took up guns to defend liberty. It wasn't the liberals, as we define them. Okay?
Just to clarify, what you're saying, Nomad, is that the Conservatives at that time, they're the ones that hated tea. Okay, I understand now.
Yes. All right. So to think that is it possible that some freaking neo-Nazi, all right, and this is the thing, I don't consider neo-Nazis on the right. Never have.
Huh?
The right is not defined because you're a nationalist. If that's your definition of a person on the right versus a person on the left, all right, then you and I have a long ways to sit up there and argue, because that's not how I define people. I define people by whether or not their views are authoritarian or not. And if you're an authoritarian, if you're someone who believes that the government, that a government authority should overrule everything, okay, and the Nazis think that too, right? Just like the commies do. There's no difference there. You're leftists. There's a reason they were the National Socialists.
Right, from CSG, because Tim says he has, and some right wingers have done videos on him. Dude, dude, no one said conservatives, he said far right. Which is
Well,
actually a fair statement. He
but
did
once
say
again,
far
when you
right.
say, I understand that he's saying that. But my problem is the
Okay.
term far right. The people they define as
Hmm.
far right, in my opinion, are not far right. They are just another offshoot of the left. By their very nature, the Nazi groups are not far right. And I will not cede the term right to a bunch of leftists who then tar and feather everybody that's conservative with the philosophies of the right are this and show these people as an example. Because it's a massive mischaracterization of who the conservatives in this country are. And if you take a look at the neo-Nazis, the people that you're claiming are far right, please show me, all right, one of these people, and let's have a discussion of what their quote-unquote conservative values are. Because they don't have any. Conservative values, all right, are things like personal accountability and responsibility. Is that somebody that's going to swat someone? That's one conservative value.
From Sean, most people on the right, or far right, air quotes, don't know who Tim Pool is and don't give a rat's ass about him. Do you know what? I'll actually accept that statement.
Well,
I really
most
will.
of the people on the far right have already been, what do they call it, depersoned and debanned off of all these platforms. How would they know who Tim Pool was?
Fair point. I actually don't disagree with you there.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've done I've done videos on Tim Pool talking about how stupid, how much of a dumbass leftist he is, right? But that doesn't mean that I had ever had an intention of swatting him, and that was my point. Okay, when we talk about the far right, and this is something that the left once again did, is the left now sits up there and defines the okay when you motion a okay to somebody, they now say that that's a white power symbol. All right, why? Because they redefined it that way. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna listen to any kind of claptrap about that. Sorry, CSG. I'm being a bit persnickety. I know. And CSG's a good guy. I mean, I'm taking the Mickey out of him. He understands,
Yeah.
or I think he understands. Am I wrong? Are you saying that I'm wrong here?
No. He's got the right idea. And I'd just like to say to everyone, happy belated birthday to ESG. Nice one, man.
Happy birthday, CSG. Belated as well. But the person who did this, right, is intentionally using the systems of power, all right, to harm people. All right, and when I talk about the systems of power and abusing the systems of power, this is what I'm talking about. Like I said, there's a huge difference between what a conservative is in the United States and what a conservative is in England. Okay? Because a conservative in England comes from the starting point of the aristocracy. Am I misunderstanding this,
Oh,
Jenson?
not even slightly. That is completely and utterly correct.
Right.
Though I would point out nowadays that it can be open for debate, though.
Okay. But in the United States, there was never an aristocracy. Okay, so you can't. So when you talk about the United States, you have to begin. You have to start with the beginning of the United States as the country, as the nation, and as the nation, the conservatives were not, okay, the landed gentry. Okay, this is something else. When you say landed gentry, I'm the money landed. Wait, put it that way. Okay, that's
Hmm?
not saying that there weren't people that had land, because there was a lot of individual farmers, and you got to remember that in America, the small farmer owned his land.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy tilling the field is tilling his own field. That's what America was. Okay? Sure, there were plantations. Okay? They did exist. Okay? But the guy tilling his field was generally the guy who owned his field.
Mm-hmm.
This was a major difference in America. The guy's house was a house he owned. It was property. The people who did not have property in America, okay, were generally, there was always a group of destitute. That's true, all right? There's always been a group of people that were, I guess, for lack of a better term, the service industry. But even the people in the service industry, you know what they purchased? Their house. Ownership, personal ownership in this country, all right, was paramount. And this is one of the reasons why everyone in America, they look to own things. They don't look to rent. Renting is looked down upon in America for the most part. It really is.
Not over here.
Okay.
Just saying.
But it's a difference because of how we were, right?
Yeah.
And how we've developed. I'm not saying we won't change. I'm just saying, and it has changed. But renting was always in America a temporary thing until you could own your own home.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, dude, okay, your country has, to say the least, plenty of space to do this. Over here, we've got a tiny little island and we're all basically crammed up against each other. That's why renting is easier. I understand in your country totally.
I get that. I do get that. I do understand that. Okay. But Tim Pool has to understand some things too. The police are coming into your house because there was an emergency and they believe there was an emergency here. And they didn't just send a couple officers.
No.
Okay? They sent 8 cars. If it's 8 cars, it's far more than that. Okay? And in that kind of a situation, it's going to be normal that they surround the area, that they cordon off the area to prevent, the enemy from moving. And you can say it's a military tactic. It's a standard tactic in these situations. You fix the enemy. Okay? You don't let the enemy roam around on their own. You don't want the criminal to get away. It's the same thing, right? You don't want the enemy escaping. You don't want the criminal escaping. Same philosophy, right? So a lot of these things translate from the military in these kind of situations. But Tim Pool thinking that they needed a warrant, no. And you shouldn't have expected them to get a warrant. Now, Tim Pool was trying to do a show, so he didn't go out and examine everything and investigate anything at the moment. He was trying to do a show. He walked away for a show for a little bit, but he came back. Right? He was still trying to do a live show. Right? I can understand why he didn't have the full knowledge of what had happened.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Shorty.
Hi.
Hi.
That video that I sent you?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah. There's a thing. There's video and audio evidence of one of the officers before they even catch, I think they called him the CTO, out of the house, of them saying this is a political recording area, and I believe it's just someone swatting this person.
Yeah.
Okay. So they did have a little bit of warning ahead of time to go in a little less half-cocked, which is good. Okay.
They also said, we're going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
They have to.
In all fairness, Yeah, I was just going to say, in all fairness, they do have to, but yeah.
But that's why Tim is so pissed.
Hmm.
Is because they have that audio of him going, we know this is such and such's place. We know that they are live, and we're going to do this anyways.
They have to. They have to. If he doesn't understand that, he's an idiot. Well, Tim Pool is an idiot, but that's it.
Yep. Well, no, guys,
Yeah.
here's the thing, okay? The person that sent them along didn't necessarily say Tim Pool was the murderer. Tim Pool killed people. They just said that there was a person on that land killing. Now, Tim may not have known, literally. So they've got to go in and check out everything because for all Tim knew, there was some bod out in the barn killing people and he just wouldn't bloody know. So I
Well,
understand what they're doing.
especially in a situation where they're live in the studio. Let's be honest, the studio is sealed. Okay,
Yep,
the studio is soundproofed. All right, and
yep,
when you soundproof a room, guess what? Yeah, sounds don't get out either, but sounds don't come in.
yep.
So if somebody comes to the door, rings the doorbell, does everything, you have no idea. You're
Hmm.
oblivious to what's going on around you. There literally could
Yeah.
be a freaking axe murderer killing half his staff outside that studio while he's doing a recording, and he wouldn't even know it was there until until
Well,
until until there was a knock at the studio door, and in comes the axe murderer. Here's Johnny. I mean, at that point, he might get a clue, but aside from that, he wouldn't have any idea.
oh, wouldn't that show go viral instantly? I mean, it would, wouldn't it?
It would if I'm not making a suggestion that anybody do anything like that before somebody goes a lot nuts. However, all right, Tim, that would be a great freaking episode to do a show like that on Halloween. That would be a great Halloween show. Just put it out
Actually,
there.
it would. Yeah.
Just put it out there. you know, you, you'd probably have to get. You'd have to warn people ahead of time, right? So to make sure you don't end up with a, War of the Worlds situation in Orson Welles. But
Now, just it. That would work really good if he did that, especially if he's like, the person cuts into the room, covered in blood, raises an axe, and then the screen just goes black,
well,
and
a
he
guy
goes
coming
quiet.
in, a guy coming in covered in blood and then falling to the ground as another, and then the camera pans over to the guy coming into bloody with the axe, going. That
And
would be
then the screen just goes black. No scream, no nothing, just
well,
black.
like the camera waving and shaking, and then black. Ah! That
Be
that would
cool,
that,
wouldn't it?
that would be a hell of a jump scare. It would be a hell of a Halloween stunt. All right, but like I said, if you don't want to at that point being swatted,
Do you think?
because that would be an honest to God, it wouldn't be necessarily a swatting. That'd be people that were actually rightly concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that'd be your own damn stupidity working in your favor.
The more
People
I
are
think about
concerned
this,
about you.
the more I
Seriously.
think about this, I actually like the idea. Maybe we should discuss this later, MC. Good for Halloween this year.
I'm leaving.
Well, we'd have to get video cameras, so we'd have to start putting people live.
That's the downside. Doku. Okay, got it. We're done it. We're on it. We're on it. We'll talk to Doku later.
Yeah, totally different situation, but no. But there's another guy here. Right? Let's be honest. This is very similar to this kind of nonsense. It really frickin' is, and that's this. Right? Where you have Piers Morgan, right? Online troll arrested for making chilling death threats against the TV star Piers Morgan and his son Spencer. Now, I know who Piers Morgan is, right? But I have no idea who Spencer is, and I don't really care.
No.
Officers from two of the country's biggest police forces, all right, have been probing the chilling messages sent to a TV star and his eldest son, Spencer. Um, is Everton and Manchester huge police departments in your country?
No, not. I mean, they're fairly big, but quite simply, if you want to work big police over here, it's the Metropolitan Police in London. I get what they're saying, but they're really blown out of proportion by saying that, especially with Everton. Quite simply, no offense, but Everton are literally nobody.
Well, Piers Morgan basically said he's grateful to the Met Police and Greater Manchester Police for taking this so seriously. Um,
Okay.
and I don't really care, okay, partly because I don't care about Piers Morgan, but anybody who's issuing death threats, right? You're an idiot. Okay, you're an idiot. You're no different as far as I'm concerned. Because in a threat like that, they need to throw the book at you. All
Hmm.
right. They need to get out there. You know, once again, Jenson. The, the there are things that happen for maliciousness, right?
Yeah.
And things that are not malicious. And you have got
Hmm.
to start stamping out the maliciousness, the ones that are malicious, and you got to identify these things.
Yeah.
Now, the person who's doing this is attempting to scare these people. They're not doing it for a lark. They're not doing it for a laugh. They're doing it to try and scare him. Because if you read these comments, which are in the article, they're saying things. I'm serious. You're dead. We are going to get you. And if we can't get you get your father, we're going to get you and your mother. Okay. So this is beyond just a simple threat.
Yeah.
Now,
That's borderline terrorism. Let's be completely honest. I know it's not political because it's the entertainment industry, but it is whatever the definition for that of terrorism. So
well,
minimum um is it basically suggestion of murder.
yeah,
Minimum.
right. Well, that's the problem with this. And this is my problem with Tim Pool. Hey, Tim, right? This kind of malicious action is something you supported, right? When you walk around with the Occupy Wall Street shit, right? Supporting those people, they were. You want to say, oh, the reason they're doing that is they just want their voices to be heard. No, they weren't. They were trying to hurt people. The main purpose of that
Yeah.
thing was to annoy people. The main thing about that was to sit up there and bother other people.
Yeah.
You can argue, well, they need to be able to express themselves. They can express themselves. No one's stopping them from expressing themselves. No one ever has.
Hmm.
All right. Now there were times in this country that did happen. Not while you've been alive, though. You've never witnessed it. This is the problem with you. This is the problem with these people. Well, I'm blocking this highway. Oh.
Ramming speed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's what it should be.
Sorry.
That person's not doing it to get attention. That person's doing it to harm other people.
Hmm.
Okay? There's a difference between, and I rail against these people too, but there's a difference between climbing up into an oak tree that's due to be cut down and saying, I'm trying to protect this oak tree from being cut down, right? I still think you're stupid, and I still would go out there with the chainsaw and go, timber! Okay, but there's a difference between that person, because that person is doing something different. That person is trying to protect.
Yeah.
That person up in the tree, if it wasn't for the fact that the guy's going to cut the tree down, he's not bothering anybody. Right?
Hmm?
That person in that freeway is doing something entirely different.
Yeah.
That person burning down a building is doing something entirely different. That person throwing a Molotov cocktail, all right, or rocks at a judicial building are doing something different. It's malicious. And the fact that that's what, and that was, let's be honest, that's what was happening in the Occupy Wall Street. They didn't occupy Wall Street.
Oh.
Okay, they occupied a park. That little Mary Jo, walking her kid, wants to go to a park and now has to go through, right, a gauntlet of vermin. And I'm not wrong to call them vermin, because that's what they were.
Yeah.
There's a difference, Tim, and you supported that shit. You supported that nonsense. That nonsense to you is perfectly acceptable. What was going on in Ferguson to you was perfectly acceptable. These people, they're just trying to get their voices heard. No, they weren't. They were just protesting police brutality. No, they weren't, because there was no police brutality to protest. They were lying. Okay? They wanted to harm people. And if you can't understand that, I'm sorry, Tim, but these are people that you supported. These are people that you spent time and effort and a period of your life in full agreement with. Is this kind of malicious action, taking this kind of malicious action, was perfectly acceptable to you? So you reap the whirlwind. And what do? Instead of looking at what you've wrought, you blame the people who had to respond to it. Now, if I'm wrong, Jenson, please.
No, but you got to remember, it's not his fault. It's everyone else that's the bad guy. He's the innocent one.
Well, he's innocent in this case. Let's be honest. This should not have happened to any.
Yeah.
This shouldn't happen to anybody.
No.
Let's be honest. Let's be frank.
No, that I accept, but the whole thing is, it's the whole thing of people not actually willing to take, acceptance of the things that they have done. Yes, I'm still trying to be polite and not swear here. So yeah, he's not accepting the things that he done that could be considered iffy, i.e. supporting these people, and when they start using their tactics on him, then they're in the wrong. But how can they be in the wrong if they're in the right? Yeah, shut up, you stupid idiot. In my opinion,
when you're talking about maliciousness and releasing these people with malicious intent, and that's really what this is, right? There's a huge difference, right, between what happened on January 6th to an extent, and only to an extent. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was going on around the country when they're with this Black Lives Matter nonsense, bullshit, lying sacks of shit that they are. Right?
Say how you really feel.
There's a huge difference in that, and the difference was played out on what you saw. Right? And what do I mean by that? Well, they did all this damage. They didn't really do any damage. Let's be honest. Did the Capitol get burned?
No.
You had literally tens of thousands of people wandering around the Capitol. Did the Capitol get burned? Was there a pile of trash, left in the Capitol? Were the barricades breached?
The worst thing that happened.
Were windows broken? Yes.
Dude, the worst thing that happened, someone had a crap on Nancy Pelosi's desk. That's literally it.
And that's vile. I'm gonna lie. Okay.
Yeah, but that is literally the worst thing that happened. And please remember, they were literally invited in by the police stroke security.
Let me ask a question. What was the malicious intent of crapping on somebody's desk?
Mm-hmm. We have a Doku.
Hey, welcome, Doku.
Not with us, but in chat.
Oh, in chat. Well, welcome, Doku.
Yep.
Chat. You're welcome to join us on stream if you want. Right. But you
He's
look at
right, by the way. Actually, there is one thing that did happen that's actually really bad. Many feelings were hurt.
well,
So
no.
people got the sad.
First of all, as soon as you break something, you're wrong. Okay, I'm gonna be real blunt. Once they broke windows, they were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, up to the point where they broke windows, I had no problem. I didn't have a problem with them ripping the barricades down. Okay, I have a problem the moment you broke a window. All right, and quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, at that point, if I was in charge of things, it would have been you have 30 seconds to leave or we open fire, and I would have had people with shotguns going counting down.
You have 30 seconds to comply. Yeah, so I get the idea, dude.
All right, and I know people are like, "What?" Like, yeah, once something goes from protest to riot, I believe in immediately putting the riot down.
Yeah.
I have not changed that stance. Okay, because once you do that, then maliciousness and mayhem is going to ensue and always does.
Yes.
Now, granted, the only people that were killed at the quote unquote insurrection were two protesters, right? The one that everybody knows, Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and murdered by a police officer, right? Because she was just standing there, and
Yeah.
the officer had plenty of time to take aim, and he intentionally shot a woman rather than somebody wielding a weapon. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but that's the truth of the matter. That guy is also a bigot. That guy is also, I mean, if you take a look at when people found out who that officer is, and I'm not going to name the officer, they know that this guy is a black supremacist, right? Who's a bigot. Now, why we tolerate this kind of shit when they talk about how we're gonna get rid of these radicals, we gotta get rid of these what do they call them? Not radicals. What are they called? What's the term that they use?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Don't know.
extremists.
Joke. Yeah, Joker has said you're only allowed to give them a stern talking to. He's right.
Extremists. All right.
Yes.
These extremists. This guy's not an extremist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that extremism is not an issue for them. So the idea that you can have extremists in the group is immaterial, right? The other person who was killed, right, was a woman who was beaten by the police, and then they came back and said, well, she died of a drug overdose. No, she died of the beating you gave her.
I didn't even know about this one, by the way. So
Okay, yeah, that's because video has only recently surfaced because they were forced to release it, and people started getting the video and said, "What the hell is this?" The
Okay.
Capitol Hill police beat a woman to death, and the coroner reported, "Oh, she died of a drug overdose." Why don't I believe the coroner?
Nomad CSG had made a comment. That's not the truth of the matter at all, Nomad. She was running to the door to jump round the obstacle. Why lie? I
She
don't know
was
this video, so I have no
she
opinion on
was
this. I'm sorry.
running toward the door.
He said.
I assume he's talking about Ashley Babbitt, right?
No, I don't know. He might be talking about the other woman,
She may have been
the
running
one that
toward the
got
door.
battered by the cops.
That doesn't mean she wasn't beaten by the police. Right? If you're going to bitch if you're going to sit up there and say that the riots are justified for Rodney King, well then you can't say that this riot was not justified for this, right? A riot in favor of this should be fine, right?
Oh
I mean,
no!
real riot. I
Apparently
mean, a
it
real
was.
riot.
Apparently it was Ashley Babbitt he's talking about.
Yeah. Ashley Babbitt was not running towards the door. If you take a look at that video, all right, she is there was a crowd of people all standing around there. She wasn't running for the door. She wasn't running anywhere. That door, in fact, most of the people were being pressed against that door, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying her actions. Like I said, once the windows get broken, it should have been 30 seconds and open fire. I mean, that's my stance.
He
Okay?
is.
I'm not
He
changing it.
suggested. He suggested you play the video right now, but
I don't have the video right now. Good grief.
Sean has requested a source about the woman being beaten by the cops. He has said the word please, so magic word has been
I will.
used.
At some point, we'll put it in the description. I'm not going to look it up right at the moment. But there is a source that I have for that. But it's regardless of this, right? Like I said, once a protest turns into a riot, okay, I believe in putting the riot down. Now, the way I initially would like to see a riot put down, quite frankly, is the way we used to do it. Bring out the dogs, bring out the fire hoses, and put it down. Okay? But see, too many lawyers, and let's be honest, that's the vast majority of those assholes on Capitol Hill. Too many lawyers basically prevent that from happening nowadays. So you have taken options away of response because firing water cannon at people, I mean, it's devastating to them. Don't get in a freaking riot. You want your voice heard? Speak. Don't sit up there and go as a mob and attack things. This is not a hard concept to understand.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm being overly harsh with this. All right? I really don't. But regardless, okay? And I'll make one more comment about Ashley Babbitt. Hey, CSG, why was it only one police fired if she looked like she was going to rush toward the thing? Why was it just the black supremacist who fired?
Fair.
Right. But that's a separate question, right? I'm not justifying Ashley Babbitt's actions any more than I'm really, but my idea of the black supremacist cop still remains. But the reality is that they broke a window. Once they broke in the window, and we're doing that, like I said, it should have been should have been Roman Legion time. Just like the shoving that guy in Buffalo to the ground. I had no problem with that. Even to this day, I have no problem. People are like, "Oh, he was just an old man. He was just doing it." No, it wasn't just an old man, and he wasn't a victim. He caused what happened to him. They told him to go to get back. He refused to get back. He was shoved back. And I don't care that he freaking lost his footing and fell to the ground and hit his head. He ran up there intentionally to stop them from doing what they were told to do. Clear that freaking area. He had no other intention than to try and stop them from doing what they were doing. At that point, his actions, all right, are intentionally malicious. I had no problem with that. And to this day, I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. They shoved him on the ground, and while he was lying on the ground, they step on him as they go over him. Right? This sounds severe? Okay? Once you become a rioter, hey, this idea that somehow you're going to get some kind of peaceful civil debate out of all this, right? By just saying they're just expressing themselves in the kind of fairyland little la 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 that people are living in. It's nonsense. And it's going to remain nonsense, and you know that.
Oh yeah.
And it's just... Here, let's do another story, shall we?
Before you lose your top, yeah, go for it, mate.
All right. Let's do this one right here. Now, Antonio Brown saga. Now, we talked about this earlier today as well, right? About Antonio Brown. My problem is that they didn't hold this idiot accountable for his actions, right? But now it gets worse because a quote unquote porn star, right?
Yeah.
Apparently somebody that is a aficionado and a well-known figure on what is that? Only site. What is that? Stupid things.
What? The only friends or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
Whatever that was. All right. She sit up there and did a
Fair
couple
enough.
had some screenshots that she sent over to the Bucks, right? The Buccaneers hotel, because apparently
Mm-hmm.
she snuck into this guy's room, had a little rendezvous with him and with others in the hotel, and then she ended up with a positive test for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then more stuff comes out, right? See, because I guess Brown is one of the people who is not who refuses to be tested or vaccinated. All right. So she's basically saying that to get them all tested, and then you show her with the coronavirus challenge, licking a toilet seat.
Yes.
Now, first of all, Mr. Brown, this is to you. Why are you dating this woman? Why are you even letting this kind of woman near you? Okay? I don't care how good she looks. All right? The guy who sells popcorn at your stadium would take one look at that and go, nope, not having anything to do with this. Don't care if she looks like Madonna or some other goddess in your own mind. Why
Mm-hmm.
would you let? What the hell? What the hell is wrong with you, dude? If these are the people you're attracting, all right. Just saying. No, okay. I'm an old fogey. I understand that. I don't get this new generation. Frankly, I don't want to get this new generation. Don't do that, Mr. Brown. Don't let people like this near you. All right. Yeah, well, maybe he didn't know who she was and things like that. That's possibly true. But dude, you have enough problems letting women like this into your life. At some point, you got to say, yeah, it's a you problem, dude. Now, the problem that I had with his histrionics and everything that he did, okay, was he, as this article goes on to say, it looks as if he planned the entire thing. He planned to have this whole thing to try and get himself notoriety. Look, dude, it ain't about you, okay? And for all the people who think that the NFL, because the NFL actually had an article talking about, oh, he didn't get any help and they should have done more to get this guy help. There's no helping this. Before you get help, people have to want help. This guy doesn't want help. And as a result, you might want to say, this guy's beyond help. Right? Honestly. I'm not trying to be a dick. Don't care about being a dick, but I'm not trying to be one. But if these are the kind of people that you're looking, why people think that this is cool, I'll never understand. I have nothing against if you want to be a porn star or anything else, fine. I don't care. But if you're going to be a porn star who specializes in licking toilet seats, I'm sorry, but you're beyond a degenerate nation. Is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree.
You have a known, a well-known entertainer athlete, and you're going to stoop to some. This is why you look at someone like Tiger Woods, right? And he has a beautiful wife, all right, what model and everything else, and this is the kind of woman he goes out with. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, look, I'm good. Okay, from the English side, we had a guy called Hugh Grant. Okay, he was basically, for whatever reason, I have no idea why, but apparently he was, as they like to use the term, a knicker dropper. Okay, his wife was Elizabeth Hurley, and let's be fair, I would. And he went out with a creature that actually made Nancy Pelosi look good, and that is saying something.
Yeah.
And it was a whore. I'm sorry, a prostitute. And
Yeah.
he got caught receiving her attentions in a car. I'm trying to be polite here.
Well, I mean, Elizabeth Hurley is easy on the eyes. Let's be honest, right?
Look, dude, I would. Okay? I'm just putting it like that.
I don't think there's too many people that would disagree with you, including the opposite sex, to be honest.
Yeah, and yet he went out with a creature. I'm not joking, seriously. It is so horrific. It ain't right, okay? It's not human.
But why?
I don't
My
I
question
don't
always comes down
know.
to why. What in your life has gotten you? Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't understand people who pay for prostitutes anyway.
No.
There was a study done. All right, and this was a while back where they estimated that a third of the population had paid for sex with a prostitute, male population, right? And we were talking. It was me and a couple friends, and we were talking, and one of the friends was somebody who had slept around, and I asked him why. Well, because, and it's like, what's the purpose of paying for sex? Okay, I don't. I
Oh,
mean,
no.
well, honestly, what's the purpose for it?
And see,
I've
I
never
just sent you
understood
the
that.
picture. I just sent you the picture of Hugh Grant and Divine of it. Okay, just take a look yourself, and
I think you're
after you
trying.
finish throwing
When
up,
you do things like that, Jensen, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to punish me. So.
it's,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
bad. Okay, yeah. I don't. You know how people sit there and say, "Well, it could be a man, it could be a woman." No, I'm not even sure it's human. Okay,
Like,
it's up. If you want to put it so as the unlucky people out there listening get to see her, that is your choice. But I thought you deserved to see it.
I'm not going to put that up.
I don't blame you.
I mean,
Guys, you've all received a great benefit from Nomad here. He has done a very nice thing by not showing you.
But the thing is I guess people think of it as a virility thing, right? I'm like, virility. I'm sorry, but virility to me means you've sired, right?
Yeah.
Right? Sleeping around doesn't demonstrate virility. It just means you're an idiot, right? Number one.
Yep.
Number two is that you're not interested in a relationship with someone. Which, okay, that's fine. But if you're not interested in a relationship from them, what are you talking to them for? For any reason,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? Is it some kind of weird power play that's going on in your mind that you can get people to do things for money? I hate to tell you this, but the Klondike bar people figured that out a long time ago. Just put it out there, right?
Good way of putting it. Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you ever seen that commercial. What would you do for a Klondike bar? And they get people to act,
Yeah,
they do all
yeah,
sorts of stupid things, you know.
yeah. Seriously, mate. Look at you, because you got the picture. Okay, I just want your opinion on this. Okay, you got a choice of that creature or Elizabeth Hurley. Now, think carefully. Which one would you
Think
pick?
carefully. Not to think carefully about it.
It's
Right?
it's not even a conversation, is it? I
No,
mean,
it's not.
honestly.
It was one of the things that I didn't understand about. Now we're taking a piss out of Hugh Grant a little bit here, but
He
for some
deserves it.
reason this is a mindset of certain guys, and I've never understood it. I mean, for example, um, Lucille Ball's husband, Desi Arnaz, right?
Yeah.
Desi Arnaz was well known to engage in prostitutes,
Hmm.
right? To the point where Lucille Ball said, "You're out of here," right? Which should have just
Yeah.
taken one, not the several dozen. Um, and and there was a reported conversation from Desi Arnaz, a friend of Desi Arnaz's, who said that Desi Arnaz didn't understand why Lucille Ball was mad, right?
Wow.
Saying, "I don't understand why she's mad. They're just whores. It's not like I'm having an affair. You're an idiot, dude. How can you be so freaking tense?" I mean, first of all,
I don't know what to say to that.
right? I understand this whole machismo Latin American bullshit that people come up with, but I also understand that, you know, from the Latin American community, that the wife, the Latin wife, there have been more than one stabbing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't get it, look at the bodies, man. Look at the bodies.
It is a subtle clue, isn't it?
I don't understand it. It's the same thing with Hugh Grant. Let's be honest. Hugh Grant could walk into a bar, right? When he was in his prime, right, and everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
He could have walked in any bar, walked out with any girl he wanted to. There's lots of skanks in bars if you're really interested in that, right?
To be fair, he could walk into any party and walk out with pretty much any woman and not skanks, and they would have still gone with him because,
Well,
like I said, the knicker dropper was one of the terms used for him.
it's just I don't I. But why would you want to? Are you looking to have a relationship? No. Why do you involve with this person for at all? By the way, it also applies the same way, the other way, right? There's
Oh,
plenty
yeah.
of gigolos out there that there's certain that are part of the gigolo set, right? That now with the woman thing, it's more of the. I still don't understand the aspect of the why you're going to pay for it. It doesn't make you more fertile, right?
No.
it
It makes you poorer.
It makes you poorer. It doesn't make you more desirable to anybody, right? You know, I guess it's like chocolate. You know, buy a woman a chocolate and they just, chocolate
Pretty
does something
much.
to their hormone levels. I understand that, but whatever. But even there, if you don't draw the line at toilet seat lickers,
Yeah.
there's no hope for you. There isn't any help for you.
Dude, okay. These creatures, they are going to give the blokes who knows what when it comes to disease. And I'm going to be simple, yeah? The guys deserve what they catch. So, no sympathy from me for these people. When we know exactly what I'm talking about here, when it shrills off and drops off, that's their problem, not mine.
Okay, but if you really want to do things, there comes a point of depravity, okay, that your society needs to say, look, this is depraved behavior. Okay?
Yeah.
Once again, let's bring back caning. This is something that I would be very hard to justify not caning somebody over. Okay?
I'm okay with that.
Both him
Again,
and her. Okay?
I still suggest that you consider the gibbet as a possibility, okay? Just saying. You can use it as storage. There you go. You can keep them in it for a while.
I think putting them on a board, locking their heads in hands, and then giving them a caning like they do in Singapore. And have you ever seen a caning take place in Singapore? I mean, as far as on the videos or anything.
Yes, I have.
It is brutal.
Oh yeah.
These are some people that have figured out the best way to really get that thing whistling as it comes in towards your buttocks. Okay.
Oh, you know what's happening. There's no two in this.
It's amazing that because the guy who's gonna do the caning, he lays down flat too, so he can bring his entire body to swing with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing. It was like that thing's not just whistling. That's like an air raid siren as it comes in and hits. And I'm not talking excessive. 1 or 2 is good enough generally, right? You don't need 50. Not saying that some people don't need it, but
yeah.
You know, a couple of canings like that. Hugh Grant, getting a few canings might change his attitude toward things, right?
Yeah.
Now, in his case, that's one thing. I don't know if this woman was that depraved that she was licking toilet seats. I suspect, however, if you gave her enough money, she would. Well, then again, if you gave most people enough money, they probably would. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Just, wow.
Well,
people.
I remember a conversation I had back when I was in the military with a guy, and they were having a conversation. I was listening, and this guy was complaining about gays in the military. What a surprise, right? Conversations, turn on whatever was going on. Now, gays in the military at the time was not what people think it is, but I'm not going to go into that right now. We'll just talk about the specific conversation. And the guy said, "Oh, you're gay." The guy's like, "No, I'm not." He says, "I'll bet you are." Right? The guy goes, "No way." He said, "Well, prove it." I said, "Okay, well, how about this? Would you suck my dick for $10? Guy said, "No." So, okay, will you suck my dick for $10 billion? The guy thought about it. Yeah, probably. I said, "There you go."
I knew that was where that was going to go.
That's not who I am. He goes, yeah, it is. That's who you are. We're just dickering over price.
Yep.
And it's an important distinction, folks. Right? It's something that people should be taught. Should be taught early on. These are the conversations that should happen in high school, not as an adult. Right?
Yeah.
This is something you should be learning early on. That okay, if you think that you're above money influencing your life, do you really understand what that means? So, and then of course there was other guys that would say, "Well, yeah, I'll be a gay for 10 seconds, so I get and a billionaire for life." I said, "No, you'll always be gay. That will never change."
Yeah.
Because what defines a person is their actions, and whether you like that action or not, that action has defined you. Regardless of anything else going further. So I think I've been pandering on enough, so we probably should go ahead and end the stream now.
Okie dokies. Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we all learned something today. And for those of you that actually don't like your eyeballs and like the idea of pouring bleach into it, the creature that I've been talking about is called divine brown. Look it up, and while you're being blind for the rest of your life, it's your own fault for looking. Thank you very much for listening to us wittering on, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye, everybody.